everyone. Welcome to episode number 57 of the New Slang Podcast. I'm Thomas Mooney, and on this week's episode, I'm joined by singer-songwriter Sean McConnell. He was here in town a few weeks back playing at the Blue Light, and so we sat down for about 30 minutes after their sound check and talked about music and the progress of his career as a songwriter and artist. We go into the collaborative efforts that he's had over the years. He's been a long-time co-writer of songs with guys like Wade Bowen and Randy Rogers, so we explore that territory, as well as one of my favorite, which is I guess it's relatively new. He had recorded a song with Lori McKenna that was on his last album, which was Undone, which was a all-acoustic record. And we talk about that and the making of those records, as well as what he's been doing lately, which he's been working on a new record that is tentatively slated for early 2019. We talk a little bit about that, as well as like what he's been doing as far as he talks about going into the studio as a producer, and like what's that like, the switching of the hats, if you will, the trying to help another artist out as far as finding their sound. And that's what we really talked about on this episode. I know it's been a minute since the last podcast, but I have a few lined up already here for this month. And as far as stuff I've been writing over on Wide Open Country, I've been super busy over there. And this week right here, you can go over to Wide Open and see some articles, some interviews that I've done with guys like Jason Eady. We have a song premiere that's out on Tuesday. We have another song premiere with the singer-songwriter Israel Nash, who is putting out a new record as well. And then I also was able to catch up with Carolina Story, who is this really like this band built around the duo of Ben and Emily Roberts. They have a new record coming out at the end of the week called Lay Your Head Down. And so last week I talked with them about the making of that record, and it's a really excellent album. These next few months, I have a bunch of stuff coming out over on Wide Open Country. A lot of interviews with folks like Ben Nichols of Lucero and Lori McKenna and Ryan Colwell, Kirby Brown, a few other people, Dirty River Boys. All these people have new albums coming out, and it's an exciting time for music. So if you don't follow me on any of the social media, go ahead and do so. I'm on Twitter at _newslang. On Facebook, you can find me under newslang. And on Instagram, it's _newslang as well. If you haven't rated the podcast, go ahead and do so. Give us 5 stars. It'll help push the podcast to broader horizons. Here's this interview with Sean McConnell. I guess like the most recent thing you did was you released the acoustic Undone, which was, just an acoustic record of Holy Days.
Yeah.
What was like the deciding factor to do the entire record that way?
2 things. One being that I just wanted to. I always heard that record being like a full-blown production record, and then also having a version of just me and my guitar, kind of the way that the songs were conceived and written. And I just like when people do that. A lot of my favorite records growing up, you could kind of hear both versions, and I always thought that was really cool. Not to mention the fact that I play a lot acoustic solo. Right. And I wanted to have something that people could go home with that sounded more like what they had heard that night. And it was just a passion project for me. I wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times when people put out an acoustic record, it's usually a live thing or a compilation of songs. I think it's really cool that it's an entire record.
Yeah.
Because listening to it, I think like whenever you think of the idea of somebody putting an acoustic record of an entire record, you think, well, is it going to be the exact same thing?
Right.
But I think that there's when you listen through both versions, they like the feel of a whole lot of songs change.
Yeah.
Just without the production behind it.
Yeah, I think they spoke differently, which was fun to be in there and stumble upon something that presented itself, as a new chord or a new way to sing that. Just the nature of playing a song more intimately with just a guitar or a piano, which was super fun. And then, of course, like playing Holy Days on the piano and playing Babylon on the Wurlitzer was, really created a whole new emotion. To me, like just presenting the lyric vocally, it changed my whole emotion while I was singing the song, which was really fun.
Right. On Holy Days, it's a lot slowed down, and it feels, I don't know, like the full band version feels really lively and vicarious.
Yeah.
Like, just really passionate. And this one feels, I don't necessarily want to say reserved, but it feels like, the song, you go so much into a nostalgic feel.
Yeah.
And this one feels more like you're looking at like an old Polaroid versus like it being yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels more melancholy to me, which I really enjoyed. Yeah.
Was it going back and like feeling the way they felt when you first were writing them that you were trying to capture, or did you even venture from that when you recorded it acoustic?
Some of them sounded very much like when I had written them, but some of them evolved either on the road playing acoustic or even in the studio while I was recording the record, just stumbling upon, like I said before, like a different chord that might have been an accident, but it's like, oh, that sounds cool. So there's a little bit of both, like things that I learned while I was on the road and then things that happened while we were in the studio.
I think that record, Holy Days, I don't even know what really to call it, Holy Days or Undone.
It's just self-titled, but I've always kind of thought about it as Holy Days. Yeah.
I guess it is self-titled. Yeah. I think that so many of those songs really play into the nostalgic atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it does feel a little bit more, I don't want to say happy, but it feels a little bit more happy than previous work.
More happy, you're saying?
Yeah, like it just feels like a lot of them feel like good memories.
Yeah.
Versus maybe some moments of like, that melancholy.
Yeah.
On previous albums.
Right.
I guess like what was that batch of songs like? What did you feel like these songs were all kind of going in that direction? That
it definitely felt like as I was writing that there was like a common thread of a very autobiographical nature. So I think a lot of that record, it was really like an exploration of my history as a person, as a musician, as a dad, as a husband, as a son. So yeah, there was definitely a thread of that, and I think there are more happy moments on that record than past records for sure. Which is nice because sometimes you need some happy songs. Yeah,
because I feel like Best We've Ever Been.
Yeah,
just feels like a feel good song.
Yeah,
is that very much a just inspired by real life? Yeah,
I wrote that song for my wife for our 10-year wedding anniversary, and so that's just a straight up love song to my wife. So yeah, all true. That record was very much for the most part, just a very literal, honest, lyrical execution. There's not much imagination on that record. It's very just kind of true to the stories for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think, whenever someone says this is a very personal record, they just automatically relate it to like a struggle that somebody's gone through or a hard time.
Right.
But like this feels like the opposite. It feels like, you just kind of going into old memories versus creating sad narratives or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think there's some of that. I mean, there are some, sad memories on that record for sure. It kind of dips into that a little bit, but yeah, a lot of good stuff.
Also on Undone, though, you have the duet with Lori McKenna.
Yeah.
How long have you known Lori?
Man, I don't know. I want to say maybe 8 years or so, maybe 7 years. I was a fan first, obviously. I just love her music and everything that she does. And we're both from Massachusetts, but we didn't meet there. I can't remember how we met, probably writing a song or through a friend, but yeah, I definitely consider her a good friend at this point, and I just respect her so much as a person, and obviously she's one of my absolute favorite songwriters of all time, and I really mean that.
Yeah, I absolutely love her too. I think she does something that, like, one of her strongest points, I feel, is the way she characterizes the passage of time.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like she can do both where it feels like, where days like just kind of drag on, but like then that years fly by. It's kind of that vibe.
Yeah.
I think like on this record, on the last record you have, though, you really have some of those moments too.
Yeah.
What was it like writing this Nothing on You with her?
It was awesome. We wrote, I was up in Massachusetts with her for, I think, 2 or 3 days, and we probably wrote 4 or 5 songs, and that was one that I just remember being like, oh my gosh, we have to do something with this. And I think we talked about putting it on the self-titled record, and it didn't fit, or there was one too many. I don't know. It would have been great on that record, but I don't remember why we didn't put it on there. But when the acoustic record came up, I was like, oh, perfect. This is why, it was meant for this record. And I was so happy that she decided to do it with me.
Mm-hmm. When you go into like a co-write like that, like what are your expectations? Like, do you kind of like go in there prepped with, okay, I've got like these 5 ideas we can go down, or like what's like your typical kind of game plan, I guess?
I used to come in with ideas more than I do now. Like, I've been co-writing for 11, 12 years, and early on, they always tell you, like, go in with an idea, which I think is great. I mean, that's great. But I also think that some of my favorite songs, or probably most of my favorite songs, are just things that happen. Like, when 2 people go into a room to write a song, it's almost just not up to you guys what you write. Like, I think there's a certain amount of, as far out as it seems, like the muse, showing up and informing you of, no, actually, this is what you're going to write today. And I really like writing with people who feel the same way, who allow that space for, we don't have this end goal of like, we have to write this song today, but let's just feel out the room and see what's supposed to happen. And Lori obviously is one of those people for sure. Yeah.
Like what, I'm just so fascinated with like the co-write collaboration pieces, because it's like, it's obviously 2 people going into a room and creating something that wasn't there before.
Right.
Like if I was like a fly on the wall kind of thing, like how much communication is happening? Is there like periods of like where you guys are just both thinking in your head and not really bothering one another? Like what's the...
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think in like a nice, healthy co-write situation where there's not a bunch of pressure built around it, if you're with somebody that, especially someone that and you've written with before, there are definitely, if you were to like look in, like you said, like as a fly on the wall, you'd probably see minutes that go by of just 2 people strumming and thinking to themselves, and then you may say, oh, what about this? And then everyone gets excited, like, or not, and you kind of move on. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of spoken and unspoken, and just musical melodies informing you of maybe what the song could be about, and communicating that. So it's an interesting, it's a very interesting situation.
Because I don't know, like if you, I know that like, a lot of guys or a lot of songwriters, they always kind of if they think of something clever as far as a line, they'll have that Rolodex of lines
Yeah.
that like, can spark a song, or, how much of that goes into it? Like where let's say you're working on something with somebody and then you're like, well, I may have something that kind of fits that.
Yeah. I think there's certain writers that really come with a list of like hooks or titles or ideas of topics they want to write about. And sometimes that can be really good and kind of save the day. But I don't know, more lately, and I don't co-write as much as I used to. I do less and less of it these days. So the people I tend to write with, it's more of the, let's just show up and write a good song, Mm-hmm. And sometimes that is, like, someone will be like, oh, I have this title, and I'll get excited about it, like, yeah, let's write that. But sometimes it's more freeing to just write without knowing where you're headed.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of it lets the imagination feel its way through the day a little bit better.
Yeah. Like one of your early co-writes as far as getting in the Texas scene was like Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen. Like, what were those kind of early, I say early days, but it doesn't feel like that long ago. Like, what was I guess, like working with those, like with Randy, like what's that kind of process?
Randy specifically was, we've always written really easily together, and that's not always the case with other people that you co-write with. But we've always had a really easy go of it, which I try not to think too hard about and just let it be what it is, But from day one, I mean, it was really, really easy and fun, and we continue to do it a couple times a year, and it's a really fun, he's a good buddy of mine now too, but it's also just a really fun musical relationship because it always seems to work, which is, nice. Yeah,
because I'm one of those guys who, just studies the songwriting credits and like all that kind of stuff, liner notes. And when you go back on those old records, you're like, oh, who's the Sean McConnell guy? And then you kind of like try and figure out who you are,
right?
And I guess like what's the Texas circuit, if you will? What's that done to your career, you feel?
A lot. I mean, a whole lot. I came down here however many years ago. I can't really remember now. I think it's been probably almost 10 years at least, to open up for Wade Bowen for a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And it really snowballed after that, just pretty quickly, to the point where I just made it a priority to keep coming back. There was a few years where I was driving from Nashville to Texas, 7, 8, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a month, for a few years, and just really kept coming back, and people kept bringing their friends, and it created a whole, world of music for me that I didn't plan on, which is really cool,
Yeah.
And just being part of the family down here is really important to me, and I really value my friendships with guys like Wade and Randy and a million other guys that have been super good to me, let me open, we write songs together, and formed actual friendships now where we keep in touch and are part of each other's lives. But I'm very honored to have been accepted down here, and for people to continue to show up to the shows like they do.
Yeah, I think like you're one of these, like you're a valued part of the Texas scene, simply because first off you're really great, but like I think like you've helped broaden the sonic palette of a whole lot of fans. You're not really like Randy or Wade or a lot of these, the staples of the scene, but I think it helps broaden people's sonic palette. Their, what kind of music they like. I think it's helped broaden people's taste, if you will.
I've always been grateful for that, for it's not exactly like the scene and yet people have really embraced it, and I think that's really cool. I mean, I think it falls under the category of, a true music fan is just good music is good music, and I think those lines are being blurred everywhere right now with music, from Texas to anywhere. I think good music is good music, and that's it.
Well, I mean, there's still like this stigma about people from Nashville here for whatever reason, and I think that's a dumb thing, because it's like these are all the Texas guys are going up to Nashville and recording records and writing songs with people up there, and Nashville guys are coming down here and playing. So like, what's the difference really? But I don't know, for whatever reason people kind of hold on to that, like it's 70s Waylon versus I don't know, you know what I mean? I know, and
it's frustrating because it just makes me a little bit sad, I guess. It's like it's just one more way that people are dividing themselves, and it's like the TV. If you don't like what's on the station, you change it. So if you don't like a certain artist from Nashville or from Texas, you don't have to listen to them. But there doesn't need to be this like animosity between two states. I find that just divisive. I don't think that's helpful to anybody.
No, I know exactly. I agree with you. I think that like one of the things that perplexes me is whenever somebody doesn't like something online, and then like they just comment about how they don't like it. But I mean, like, I'm just like, why is that bothering you? Like, we're not like, okay, if it does bother you, why are you like putting that so much energy into the
I know, man. It's like the troll thing. It's like, who is this person that has so much time on their hands and is so hell-bent on like saying, I don't like this, with no constructive information behind it? It's just like they're vomiting online. It's like, what?
Like, I think if people realize that what they're doing is they're giving that person who they apparently don't like power over them. Like, I don't know. It's just this weird. I don't know.
It's not helpful.
Yeah. But what do you have coming up? Like, what are you working on now?
I've actually been home. I've been off the road for a few months working on a new record that I'm almost finished with, and we're in the middle of figuring out, how we're going to put it out and how that's going to work. But very, very excited about it. So I've been doing that, and I've been producing a record for an artist and a dear friend of mine named Ashley Ray, which will be coming out soon. So I've been in a season of being in the studio and creating music and being home with my family, which has been really nice. And now we're kind of going back into that touring season.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Obviously, whenever you're writing your own material and you're prepping your own record and in the studio, you do have, even if you have a producer on, you still have that producer mind for your own stuff. How different is it to transition to working with somebody else, whether it's somebody else's songs and somebody else's record?
You almost have more perspective, because when you're producing your own record, which is what I just did, there are so many pros, but maybe one of the cons is the bird's eye view of the project. You get so deep into it that you have to find ways to, rise above it and look down on it and assess, like, what's going on, what does it need, what does it not need. I think when you're producing an other artist, you almost automatically have that perspective already, which is nice. I think that might be one of the differences.
It feels like, talking with a lot of different bands, they've talked about the great producers always tell you, like, when you're, I guess, like, if you're in a band or whatever and you're working on these songs, and sometimes you can just feel like you're in a box, like you're in a circle together, and then you're not really seeing how it looks from like the next room over, if you will. That sometimes you need that person to say, keep on doing that. We're like, no, that's not going to work on for whatever reason, you know?
Yeah, I think that voice can go a long way. Sometimes you just need someone to reinforce that, like, no, that sounds great, or no, why would you shouldn't re-sing that. That sounds great. Like, don't overthink it. I think that's an important part of the producer's role is to be that person too.
Whenever you're like prepping a record, like how many songs do you try and get to like a certain number that you're like, okay, I've got 30 songs now, let's dwindle it down. Is there like not necessarily a magic number, but is there like a comfortable amount that you like to get to choose from whenever you're...
I think for me right now, like 10 or 11 songs is a nice full record that people can still sit down and listen to. I mean, there are exceptions to that. There's plenty of awesome records that have 12, 15 songs on them. I normally, for whatever reason, tend to like to put out 10 or 11 songs. But to get to those 10 or 11 songs, I might write 50 songs, or more throughout the year. I mean, definitely more throughout the year, but like songs that I might actually consider for my record, there might be 30 or 40 of them, and then you whittle them down to like which ones are actually like A, belong together, and B, just you feel like are great songs.
Yeah. Is there any time where it feels like this is a great song, but it doesn't fit with the...
Yeah.
What is that like? What's that struggle of trying to choose?
That's definitely a thing. It's not... I feel like it's important to try to make a record feel cohesive, for me at least. And so there's definitely songs I've written that are either like almost a different genre or something, where we either have to produce them the right way or they just might not be for this record type of a situation. So I definitely keep my eye on that. Like, I want all the songs to fit together. I don't want someone to listen from top to bottom and be like, this is 5 different records in one.
Right.
Which maybe that's fine for someone else. It's just one of my things that I try to do. So when that happens, I'm always like, well, maybe this is for the next record. When there's a really good song, you don't forget it. You hold on to it and try to find a way to put it out,
Yeah. Well, like, how often does it where... Is there any examples of having like a song where you did feel strongly about it, didn't put it out, thought like maybe it would come on something later, but then, you're... I don't know, maybe like the way you feel about it changes, maybe like you lose some passion, you don't connect with it as much.
Yeah.
Is what happened, like, is there any examples of that ever happening?
I don't know about a specific example, but that's definitely a common thing. I mean, I think when you're writing a song, you're all in it and you're excited about it. Obviously, you wouldn't be like writing it if you weren't stoked about it. But then maybe like you wake up the next morning and you're like, wow, this is a piece of shit. This is not as good as I thought it was. Right. That has definitely happened to me and countless other people. It's, the morning after listen and you're like, wow, I thought I was doing really good and I was way off the mark. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have a specific example, but that happens all the time. Yeah. Is there any one specific that you're like, if you're, I don't know, like that you show first, that you try and like test the waters with? Anyone specific that you'll send a demo over? A specific song? No, like a specific person that you'll be like, hey, how's this sound? Oh, like who would I ask? Like, hey, like, is this good? You got like a tester, I guess. I mean, my wife for sure, and then my manager Ross Dupre is a very good judge of a quality song, and him and I are cut from a very similar cloth musically, which is really nice that we see eye to eye on music. So they're two very strong voices for sure. Yeah, it's one of those things where I can just assume you can't just show your mom or your grandma because they're like, oh, this is amazing. This is amazing too. Yeah, you need someone who's going to tell you like that's horrible, or like that's just not. I don't get it. Yeah, I have a lot of those people, which is nice. You mentioned a minute ago about how you like to make records that are cohesive, that feel like they're all
part of the same fabric, if you will. A lot of times early artists, those first records they put out, they kind of venture in different directions just because they don't necessarily know what they want to do.
Yeah.
What's their style, what's their sound.
Yeah.
What was that like when you were first starting out? What kind of experimentation did you go into before you found like your sound?
Man, I still don't know that I found my sound, to be honest with you. I have no idea. I love so many different genres and styles, and when people ask me that, inevitably ask me that question, like, what kind of music you play? I really don't know anymore what to say. I mean, that being said, I think I know more than I might have when I was like 15 or 16. But I don't know. I try not to get caught up in it. I try to just write whatever is coming out of me that day, and then go on to the next thing. I don't know if it's my job to put it in a box and name it, and but I think as you evolve as a songwriter and as a musician, there's a certain amount of identity that you do, slowly gain, and but that's still a thing for me. I don't know how to classify it.
Mm-hmm. I would kind of assume that's what it would be. Like it's kind of always still a journey. Yeah. But like, that you kind of see a little bit more of the path. Yeah. You're a little bit more comfortable with the direction you're going, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that can change from record to record too. Well, for this new record, like what you said, you're kind of like in the middle of it, or yeah, I'm almost done with it. It's almost finished. Mm-hmm. What is I don't know, like your expectations on? I know you don't have like a release date or anything like that. But when are you kind of thinking it'll? It should. We're hoping that it's out like first quarter of next year, and maybe have a single out before then, leading up to it. But I don't know if that'll happen or not. We're still very much, planning how that's going to work. But hopefully, first couple months of next year is when it'll be fully available. Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to hearing it. Oh, I appreciate it. I'm excited. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun. Yeah, we'll have to have you next time you come through again. I love it.